The battle over control of the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department continued in a Senate hearing room this morning.
The lawmakers are debating a measure to create a state-appointed board to run the department instead of having a mayor-appointed chief. Missouri Capitol Bureau Chief Joe McLean was at the hearing.
Supporters of this move say the current administrative structure of the department has failed to adequately address crime in the city. But Chief Tracy told lawmakers today that they just need to let the department's strategies have more time to take effect.
I'm here not to stay a chief. I'm here to be a chief, to make sure we get the job done. And that's what I'm going to do to support them and support the city of St. Louis.
St. Louis Metro PD Chief Robert Tracy speaking to a Senate committee Wednesday against a state takeover of his department. The department was actually run by the state for more than a century, starting back in 1861, until a statewide referendum in 2012 transferred the department back to local control, leaving Kansas City as the only major metro in the country with a state-run police force. In his testimony Wednesday, Tracy said reversing control once again won't solve anything.
Yeah, you need consistency, you need regiment, you need to allow these strategies and these things to take place. Because I know what we're doing will work in the long run, as long as people have patience to allow these things to happen.
Jane Duker is a lobbyist for various police associations and said the major deficit of police officers and staff is too pressing an issue to wait.
So the crisis staffing is real, and unfortunately it's not getting better. The department is not even close to making up for attrition, and that is dangerous. It makes the public unsafe and it makes officers unsafe.
The bill being discussed would have the governor create a new state police board made up of the mayor and 4 other appointed members. Duker said the change will go a long way toward building public trust and boosting morale.
The way we're going now, without state control, we're gonna continue to lose officers.
But Tracy said working as an appointee allows his position to function better than being managed by a group of 5 appointees.
I worry about answering to 5 people and trying to get a consensus of doing my job compared to a person who appointed me.
While the city's overall crime rate is relatively high, it's seeing improvement year over year. For example, last year, the city saw a 21% reduction in homicides.